What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, May 30th, 2024, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1400 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Russia. So, apparently, Putin's residence in the Altai Republic is on fire, and this is one of the residences that Putin received the Italian Prime Minister Berlusconi in 2015. Okay, so this is one of Putin's dachas, one of his bunkers, one of his residences in the Altai Mountains has caught fire. And right now, we have two U.S. nuclear war command and control planes in the air. And we also have two B 52 bombers airborne over Louisiana and Arkansas in the Ozark Mountains. One of them actually got aerially refueled. So, U.S. nuclear forces are still on high alert. Here we have the nuclear war command and control plane off the coast of New Jersey communicating with our submerged nuclear armed submarines. These are the Boeing E-6B Mercury planes, and they have an antenna that they spool out the back of the plane. And when they fly in loops like this, they're communicating with the submerged nuclear armed subs, our Ohio class subs. And we have another one right now looping over the Ozark Mountains. And then here we have two B 52s airborne over the southern Ozarks in Arkansas. So this is very, very concerning. Here's a picture of Putin's residence in the Altai Mountains on fire. Okay, so this is very, very concerning. And Ukrainian media is claiming that Belarus is preparing to introduce a state of emergency in the Gomel region. Now, this is the part of Belarus where Russia launched their invasion from 2.5 years ago. They invaded from Gomel, which is just north of the capital of Ukraine. It's about 60 miles north of Kiev. So Belarus is preparing to introduce a state of emergency in that area now. So that could be because Russia's planning to use that territory again to invade Ukraine and go for the capital. That's the closest route to the capital is through Gomel in Belarus. And last night, Ukraine attacked the Crimean Bridge area with ATACMS missiles. Reportedly, they attacked a ferry crossing. Several dozen loud kabooms were heard in the area last night. No word yet today on damage. And the Crimean Bridge was closed last night twice. Okay, so Ukraine is hitting more targets near the Crimean Bridge. They hit some kind of a ferry or ferry crossing. There were some unconfirmed reports of two Russian warships that got damaged or sunk. I haven't heard any updates about that yet today. And the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the supply of F 16s to Ukraine will be perceived as a nuclear threat by Russia. Okay, so if you guys are not aware, F 16s are nuclear capable fighter jets. Okay, the F 16 is one of the primary tactical nuclear weapon delivery platforms for NATO. Okay, that's why so many countries in NATO have F 16s because they are capable of delivering the B 61 nuclear gravity bomb, which has a blast yield of several hundred kilotons. Okay, 400 kilotons. So it's a massive bomb that the F 16s can deliver. And now Ukraine is going to have them. So theoretically, Ukraine could use these F 16s to deliver nukes on Russian soil. But this could also be an excuse for Russia to use their tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine because they could say, well, you have F 16s now, and you're going to be able to strike Russian territory with them, and they're nuclear capable, so we have to use nuclear weapons to defend ourselves. That's where this is going, guys. Russia has already put their tactical nuclear missiles on full combat alert. Okay, in southern Russia, they've put their Iskander missiles on full combat alert with nuclear warheads on them, and same thing with Belarus. So things are getting crazy, guys. Make sure you're getting prepared. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day, all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And Norway believes that Ukraine should be given the right to attack Russian territory with Western weapons. This was stated by the Norwegian Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide in an interview with NRK. The foreign minister stressed that Ukraine has the right to attack Russian territory in self-defense under international law. So we have over a dozen NATO countries now saying that they support the use of Western weapons on Russian territory by the Ukrainians. Denmark said that they're going to allow Ukraine to use their F-16s to strike Russian territory. That is huge news, guys, okay? But Belgium said that they don't want their F-16s to be used against targets in Russia. So very, very interesting split there between Belgium and Denmark. But that's a huge escalation for Ukraine to use F-16s provided by Western countries to hit Russian territory. And Ukraine's use of NATO weapons to attack Russian territory will lead to massive retaliatory strikes. So it is a crazy idea, mostly for Kiev, because they will suffer the most. This was stated by the Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó. Now, what's interesting is the Hungarian Foreign Minister is in Belarus right now. So very interesting. And a think tank close to the Kremlin says Russia should consider a demonstrative nuclear explosion. And Russia confirmed reports of France preparing to send troops to Ukraine, according to TASS, the Russian news agency. And France could soon send military trainers to Ukraine and may announce its decision next week during a visit by the Ukrainian president, 3 diplomatic sources say. France would initially send a limited number of personnel to assess the modalities of a mission before dispatching several hundred trainers. Training would center around demining, keeping equipment operational, and technical expertise for warplanes. So this is how it all starts, guys. Okay, it starts with trainers, and then it moves into infantry, and then, full-blown war. Okay, and Chinese and Russian militaries will further deepen mutual trust and cooperation, expanding the scale of joint exercises, and hold maritime and air joint patrols regularly, according to the Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Qian. So not a good sign there. China and Russia deepening their military ties. Here's a closer look at the B-52s that were airborne over the Ozarks, one of them getting aerially refueled by a KC-135 earlier this afternoon. Here we have Putin's Doomsday plane. It flew from Moscow to Yekaterinburg area and then turned around and came back. I don't know if this is because of his dacha catching fire. I have no idea, but there were Russian Doomsday planes airborne earlier this morning and late last night, and this particular plane is Putin's Doomsday plane, the Ilyushin 96-400 VPU. And then here you can see several Russian Doomsday planes heading east late last night. So this is very, very concerning. These are also some airborne command and control planes as well for Russia's nuclear forces. And we had a lot of activity over the Baltics and Poland last night. We had more NATO cargo planes, military cargo planes, going to the Baltics and Poland. So it looks like NATO is scrambling to reinforce the Baltics and Poland prior to an attack, which could be imminent any week now. And now we have Putin's Doomsday plane going east to Siberia and all these Doomsday planes going east. So maybe something's going to happen tonight. So I'll be monitoring the situation, and if anything happens, I will go live. We had more NATO reconnaissance last night over Poland. Check this out. Italian AWACS plane patrolling the northern and eastern border of Poland. Same thing with the Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling the Polish eastern and northern border. And then this Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling the Baltic Sea here. So lots of reconnaissance. And then here we have a bunch of NATO military cargo planes going to Poland and Estonia and Latvia. And then we have this Russian military cargo plane that just left Kaliningrad and went back to Russia. So very interesting. And Poland announced the creation of a 200-meter buffer zone along their border with Belarus. The zone will come into force on June the 4th and will cover 27 towns in northeastern Poland in the Podlaskie Vojevodstvo. That's like the oblast or province of northeastern Poland. It's called Podlaskie. And I have a source that works on undersea construction offshore, and this person is now working on a project off the coast of Virginia. And he told me last week he saw in 1 hour 7 F-22s that flew over his vessel and headed out to the Atlantic. So this is right off the coast of Virginia, about 60 miles off of Virginia Beach. And he also saw an attack sub with 2 F-16s escorting it just the other day. And the U.S. is close to signing a new bilateral security pact with Ukraine, according to the Financial Times. The agreement lays out commitments on long-term support, including military training, intelligence sharing, and economic assistance. And the advisor to the Ukrainian president, Mikhailo Podolyak, stated that U.S. provided military aid has started arriving on the front line, but that it will take weeks for the gradual increase in U.S. provided military aid to reach critical volumes. So now Ukraine is very vulnerable. Russia is going to make their move any day now, guys. I believe potentially next week or this weekend or potentially tonight. We have all these Doomsday planes going east to Siberia. We have massive amounts of NATO reconnaissance planes and NATO military cargo planes going to the Baltics. So it could happen any day, guys. And Russia is now constructing hangars in anticipation of deep strikes by Ukraine at the Marinovka airfield, which is 300 kilometers from Ukraine. And this airfield is home to Sukhoi 24s and Sukhoi 34 Stryker bombers. And a working meeting of the Belarusian and Russian defense ministers took place in Minsk over the weekend. The defense minister of Russia, Viktor Krenin, and the defense minister of Belarus, Andrei Belousov, discussed topical issues of bilateral military and military technical cooperation. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. The defense ministers of Russia and Belarus meeting in Belarus to discuss military technical cooperation. That is very serious. So they're basically ironing out the kinks before they start their invasion of the Baltics, potentially Poland and Ukraine. And NATO leader Jens Stoltenberg will ask NATO allies to pledge 40 billion euros per year to fund military aid for Ukraine, according to a NATO source. And the Israeli War Cabinet meeting tonight discussed the progress of Iran's nuclear program after it was revealed over the weekend by the IAEA that Iran has started enriching uranium to weapons-grade levels. and the Iranian stockpile of enriched uranium now is 30 times larger than the limit set in the 2015 nuclear deal. Okay, so this is very, very concerning. All right. The Israeli War Cabinet holding a meeting tonight to discuss Iran's nuclear program. And the Israeli air defenses shot down a long range cruise missile over northern Israel today coming from Iraq. And Mossad issued a warning about Iranian terror plots in Europe, specifically stating that they may target the Paris Olympics, Israeli and Jewish communities, and also embassies. So this is very, very serious. And this could happen all across Europe, not just in France, but all across Europe. And the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, is calling for a Mideast peace conference. And Iran's Tasnim news agency says that Iran has provided sea-launched ballistic missiles to the Houthi rebels in Yemen. And speaking of Houthis, what you're looking at here is a Greek ship that was struck by Houthi missiles over the weekend. You can see this hole right here on the hull of the ship. And then here's another big hole. You can see this is like some kind of a grain ship. Looks like they have grain in there. And these are giant doors that hold the grain in. And looks like they hit those doors. Very, very serious. And here we have a picture of the North Korean balloons that were sent into South Korea over the weekend. They sent 300 of these balloons with feces and trash, okay, into South Korea. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. Just make sure you guys are getting prepared. Make sure you have your bug out bag squared away. Make sure you have your bug out plan, your bug in plan, your nuclear war survival plan, because things are about to get hot. We have all this talk about NATO allowing Ukraine to use NATO weapons inside of Russian territory, and Putin warned that if that were to happen, that Russia would strike targets in Europe directly, okay? And then that could escalate into a full-blown war with Russia. And we have Russia preparing some kind of an attack on the Baltics right now. So get prepared, guys. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I'm going to be monitoring the status of our nuclear forces and the emergency action messages. So if anything escalates, I will go live. But until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.